Well, hello guys, welcome to my channel. So we'll discuss today. We'll discuss our topic Bohr's model of hydrogen atom. So Bohr's model of hydrogen atom. It's one of the important topic in the our atom chapter. So most of the competitive exam, let's suppose if you talk any IIT, JEE mains or advanced or NEET or any other state exams, you can see exams question will be asked from the Bohr's atomic model. 99% the question will come from here only. Why? Because it is the most modern theory, and one more thing also, it is the first quantum theory also I can say. So let's start our topic. Bohr's model of hydrogen atom. Bohr's model of hydrogen atom. So see guys, this is an important topic, which is Bohr's model of hydrogen atom. Bohr's model of hydrogen atom. So it is just a upgraded theory of a Rutherford atomic model. So he takes the limitation, whatever the limitations are there in the Rutherford, he is going to rectify it, and he is going to propose a good model, which is a modern model we can say, which is very helpful for the next generation. So this Bohr's atomic model is the most important model I can say in a entire atom chapter. So let's start. It's a Bohr's model with the interesting things here. So here Bohr has concluded that so from taking the limitations of Rutherford limitations, so he's worked with the Rutherford only. So Rutherford lab, in a Rutherford laboratory only he worked. Bohr is worked with the Rutherford only. So Rutherford limitations he'll take into consideration, and then he'll rectify. So what are the limitations he had made? So first limitation is, so he told that electrons will revolve with the acceleration. So electron acceleration, this is one limitation. So electron acceleration was, he will tell that whenever the electron is revolving around the nucleus, it will be moving with a certain acceleration, where it will have acceleration. So according to the classical theory of electromagnetism, so we will study electromagnetic waves, that theory we will definitely study. So there, if a particle moves with acceleration, then it will always have a radiation. So radiation means it will lose its energy. As it loses the energy, as continuously it will fall into the nucleus. That is the first limitation he made. So this limitation is going to rectify by the Bohr's model. So he told that what is the important thing? He told that an electron does not have any acceleration, and it will be moving with a stable stationary orbit. Okay, that is made by Bohr's model. So electron will not move with the acceleration, is given by the Bohr's. Next, second, he didn't tell about any spectrums. Spectra is a spectrum or a spectra. About the spectra he didn't talk. Rutherford not given any explanation about these spectra. So the spectra is also Bohr's will give you a clarity of explanation about the emission of spectra or absorption of spectra. Regarding it, he has given a good clarification in this limitation. So he has taken the limitations of Rutherford and made an improvement and gave a good atomic model, which is a quantum theory, modernized quantum theory. So which gives a good explanation over the atom. So let's discuss about it. So Rutherford, to make Rutherford model, he has considered a few things here. So one by one I will tell you. So he has taken certain imaginary things to propose this atomic model. So those imaginary things, if I see, those are not at all, if I say, I cannot say that is a easy things to propose. So he is taken as a postulates. So postulate means, you see, postulates means the imaginary facts I can say. So he is taken a postulates. So postulate, it means imaginary fact. Those are imaginary, but they are facts. So imaginary fact, I can say this is a one type of terminology you have to learn in the physics. So first thing here, first important thing, first postulate of him. So he told that postulate number 1. So he's taken 3 more postulates in a Bohr's model theory. So we'll talk about those postulates one by one in Bohr's model of atomic hydrogen atom. Let's start those postulates. Okay. So Bohr's, I told you, Bohr's is taken the limitations and he just changed the limitation. He's overcome the limitations of Rutherford and he gave a standard model for the hydrogen atom. Not only hydrogen atom, this can be applicable for the many atoms. So let's talk about this Bohr's model. So Bohr's, to propose it, I told you he is going to go with the postulate. So first postulate I will discuss. So postulate number 1. Postulate number 1. So in this postulate number 1, he is told that orbit is a stable. So I can say orbit of electron is stable orbit. So how this will be stable? How this orbit is stable? So he is explained it with a good example. So he is taken a neutron, and this neutron is surrounded by one such orbit, and a neutron and electron are two different charges definitely. So this will be attracting it with the electrostatic force Fe, and this will be balanced by some other force, pseudo force, that is a centrifugal force. So centrifugal force is balanced it. So that centrifugal force balanced it. So this postulate he told that to make it stable, to make it this stable movement, so it will be balanced. Two forces are balanced and electron will be at a equilibrium. So that equilibrium is told as a orbit is in a stable manner. So Fc is equal to, I can write Fe. So Fc is here. What is the Fc here? It's a centripetal force. If it is moving, then let's suppose here to here the distance, if you take r. So this is a sphere. So sphere, this radius, if I take it as a r, because it is a circular orbit, so I am taking it as a r orbit. So Fc means a centrifugal force. If I can write mv square divided by r, and Fe, that is I have taken the centripetal. This is a electrostatic force, electrostatic attractive force, nucleus and electron. I can take 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught, 4 pi epsilon naught, and 4 pi epsilon naught charges. Charges I can write this is a Ze, means center, means nucleus. I am going to represent with a Ze. Z means you know already. Z means atomic number of that atom and electron. So I'll write Ze into E. Again one more charge is E. Divided by distance is r square. So from there I can write, what can I write here? Mv square is equal to 1 r here get cancels. So you can write 1 divided by 4 pi epsilon naught Ze square divided by r. This is your first postulate he told. Okay, please note it down. So while you are taking the notes, please choose it and then you can take the notes. So that is mv square is equal to 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught Ze square divided by r. So if it is for one orbit I have taken, if it is for n orbits, n orbit, then what happens? Then n orbit will be moving with the n. See here, this v is nothing but tangential velocity of electron. So tangential velocity, you know already, tangential velocity of electron will be like this. If it is revolving, then it will have a omega. So omega is in relation with the tangential velocity, you know already in rotational dynamics in the first year. So omega is related to the v. So here v, it is nothing but a tangential velocity, you always remember it. So if it is for a n number of electrons is revolving in the atom, so you have to take a Vn and here Rn. That is the first postulate. Okay, so you take it notes, and this one equation, and second, simple here, one more thing you have to write. Second postulate I will take and then I will discuss more about it. Okay, so let's talk about the second postulate now. So second postulate here, postulate number second. So he tells that simply here, postulate number second postulate. In the second postulate, what is this imagination? That whenever the let's suppose whenever I told you already, electrons are revolving with a stationary a stable orbit it has. It does not have any acceleration, so it will not radiate. Okay, electron is revolving. So when it is revolving, then definitely there is a movement is also conserved. So whenever you see it is moving omega here, here forces are balanced. Here if here here to here the distance is r, here to here I can say electron, those two are I can say electrostatic attraction force, and which is balanced by Fc. These two are balanced, but still it is along the this one it is revolving. It means there is something else is also acting. Forces are balanced, but still this electron is revolving. Means this is a planetary model, you can say. Even the forces are balanced, something else is making it to move. It means momentum is conserved. So you write down momentum is conserved. Momentum is conserved. So here the conserved momentum is equal to the, he wrote he has taken it from the electromagnetic theory, that is, so momentum, if even though balance these forces are balanced, but something else also acting on it and to revolve, that he has taken like this. So moment, which is a rotational moment I am taking here. So mvn rn is equal to, what can I write here, n pi divided by h. Okay, nh by sorry. So you can write nh divided by 2 pi. nh divided by 2 pi. nh divided by 2 pi means this is your angular momentum. H is nothing but you can say Planck's constant. This is known as a Planck's constant. So this is your second postulate equation. Okay, this is one more important thing. Second, one more thing, because here n number of distance we have, n you can multiply it. It is an integral multiple, you can say. So this angular momentum is equal to, he's taken this much value. This is second postulate. Next, third postulate we'll see. So third postulate, postulate number third. So in a postulate number third, he'll talk about something else also. So see here, postulate number third. So in a postulate number third, what he is taking? So I have taken momentum is also over. Now something else. Let's suppose whenever it is revolving with some certain frequency. So he is taking in terms of frequency. Here, if sometimes if the electron gets energized, if electron gets some energy, it will definitely move to the southern other orbit. So this is a lower orbit. Let's suppose if it is gets energy, then it will move to other orbit also. When it moves other orbit, then it will be unstable atom. Then it will, to make itself stable, it will lose some energy and it get back to the same other orbit. So that is a thing here. So I will explain it in a simple manner. You see here. Let's suppose the example I am telling. Let's suppose if I take, this is your center. So around this one electron is revolving. So now this electron is collided with some high energy particle like alpha particle or beta particle or gamma rays. If it is if it is interacted, what happens is try to move to the some other, because it got energy, it will move to the some other orbit. When it moves to the some other orbit, definitely what happens, it will be now unstable atom. So to stabilize, what happens, it will be coming back to its original position. When it is coming back to its original position, or else, okay, don't talk in that manner also. Let's suppose it is energized and it went to the some other energy level. So now this is now your energy. This is your, initially it was here, then it went to there. Okay, initially it was here, then it went to here. Then energy levels were changed. Then what happened? Then if you see, if energy level is changed, then its rotation also varied, right? So rotation around this nucleus is also varied. As the variation you can see here, so as this variation you can see, definitely what happens here, this variation is changed and this revolution also changed. Definitely it is related to what here? Frequency. So that also he given in the third postulate, when energy levels were changed. So from initial energy, change in initial energy to final energy, what happens here? So their frequency level change. So that is multiple of H is multiple of nu, which is a frequency level. So you can say this is a second. Already nu means your frequency. Frequency means don't just bother about it. Frequency means number of revolution around the nucleus. So number of revolution, if here it is smaller, so it will make more revolution. Here it is bigger, so it will make a different revolution. Then its frequency changes, right? So that is why if energy level changes, then the frequency of electron also changes, definitely. That is the third postulate. So you see how many postulates I have discussed here. First one is a stable atom. Third one means orbit is stable. Then forces were balanced. Second one is a conservation of momentum is equal to what here? Integral multiple of h divided by 2 pi. Next one is if energy level changes, then it is related to, there is a change in frequency. These three things he has taken into consideration, and he formed these relations. He formed different relations of a electron and about a atomic model of hydrogen. Let's start it. So take down these notes also. Next, I will discuss. I am going to find what could be the velocity of electron around the nucleus. Can I find it? Yes, of course I can find it. So how can I find it? Simple. So you know already I wanted to find the velocity of electron. Can I find velocity of electron? Yes, you can find. Simple. Electron you can find. So how you can find? Simple. Take the first postulate. I wrote already, have taken it, which is mvn square is equal to, I wrote 1 divided by 4 pi epsilon naught into z into e square divided by r. This is Rn. This is I have taken equation 1. Next equation you can take from the second postulate I have to take, which is I have taken mvn Rn. mvn Rn is equal to nh divided by 2 pi I have taken. So from there Rn I am going to take it. This is the equation 2. So 2 equation I am going to take in forms of if Rn only I want to write, then what it will become? nh divided by 2 pi and into, if this goes downside, 1 divided by m into Vn. This is the equation, the second equation it will become. So note it down. I am going to replace the second equation in the first equation. Please take down the notes. Okay. So this Rn I am going to substitute here. So let's substitute that. So let's do it. So simple here. So second is substituted in first. So I am writing mvn square is equal to 1 divided by 4 pi epsilon naught. Okay, z square. Again here Rn is inverse. So previously I have what here. So whatever the equation I have, that will be reversed. So here what it will become. So here simple you can write so nh. So Rn means I got it here. Rn is equal to nh divided by 2 pi into what is there, nh divided by 2 pi. Okay, and 1 divided by, I wrote mvn I wrote. Yes or no? So it will goes upwards. So 2 pi into mvn divided by nh. nh will be downwards. Okay, that is your Rn. So now from there what is there? Here m and m get cancelled. So 2 pi here, 2 pi cancelled 2 times, it will be cancelled. Again what is it? Here Vn is also cancelled. So only Vn is left. What is the left things now? Simple, you can write. Vn is equal to velocity of any electron is equal to, what can I write here? What is the left out thing here? Left out thing you see, simple, 1 divided by 2 pi epsilon naught is left. Next there what is left? Ze square divided by n into h is left. This is the velocity of electron. Please note it down. Please note it down. Please note it down. Okay. So now this is our equation. So let's suppose you are talking about the hydrogen atom here. So what could be the value for the hydrogen atom? So you got it. What is the value here? Simple. So you can write now Vn value you got it as 1 divided by 2 pi epsilon naught into n divided by 2 pi epsilon naught, you got Ze square divided by what you got here, Z square divided by simply H NH or HN also you can write. So if hydrogen atom is equal to 1 and its atomic mass number is equal to 1, then what happens? Z is also equal to 1, N is equal to 1, then velocity of electron of a hydrogen atom is equal to what you can write 1 divided by 2 pi epsilon naught, 1 divided by 2 pi epsilon naught here. So N, okay, you don't write N, let's suppose this is for hydrogen atom. For hydrogen atom, clearly I will write, okay. For hydrogen atom, some atomic mass number is 1. Then this equation becomes what? Vn is equal to 1 divided by epsilon naught E square divided by N into H. E square divided by N into H. This is the velocity of electron for the hydrogen atom. Please note it down. So simply here I can make out one more relation here. So simple, okay, for this is over. So let's suppose one more simple thing I can take it out. So from this relation, one more thing I wanted to note it down here. So from this relation, Vn is this is anyhow constant, 2 epsilon is constant, Z is constant, E is also charge of the different electron is constant, charge of electron is constant, N H is constant, N is variable. So V is inversely proportional to N. So as velocity, as the number of orbit increases, then it will be reduces. As it is decreases, this will be increases. So this is a variation. So if I write in terms of their ratio and proportions, I can write simply here. So you can write for V1 is to V2 is to V3 is to like this till Vn you can write. So till Vn if you write, then what happens here? This can be gives you 1 is to 1 by 2, 1 by 3, like that till 1 by n. So it will be inversely proportional. So like this variation also it will get. So this relation is important one. Okay. So next one more relation. This is one more thing I have taken from the velocity of electron. Let's one more thing also you take it into consideration. So see here, same from the same equation, I am going to frame it out one more relation here. So one more relation means what? So see this equation I wanted to multiply and divide with the velocity of light. So when velocity of light means what? If I give let's suppose if there is a chances that if I give any energy to the electron with a certain gamma energy, let's suppose you have a radiation, gamma radiation. The gamma radiation which value is equal to the velocity of light. When it involves, then the energy level changes. So that time I need to get a velocity of electron in terms of this relation also important. So let's do it. So let's suppose. So I can write one simple thing. If Vn is equal to, I can multiply this thing. So here one simple thing I wanted to take it out. So C divided by N. Okay, C divided by N you take it. And remaining what is there here? 1 divided by 2 pi epsilon naught, 2 epsilon naught. Then what is there? Z square divided by, what is it? Z square divided by what is there here? H is left and C is left. So you see this is entirely constant one. This is entirely constant value. So that value is taken it as a some you can take this is some kind of all this total thing is considered in terms of what here some constant he has taken which is alpha. So Vn is equal to what can I write? Alpha into C divided by N. So here so this entire value they have substituted epsilon naught value substituted, E value substituted, Z value substituted, H value substituted, C value is also substituted, and they found that alpha value is equal to 1 by 37, 137. Alpha value is equal to 137. Please note it down these things. So 137. So this thing is called as a fine structure constant. This is called as a fine structure constant. So here alpha is known as so you take it down. I wanted to note it down. So as I told you, so leave these things, entire things here. So let's see here a simple thing. So Vn is equal to, I wrote it in terms of alpha into C divided by n. So alpha is equal to, what is it? Alpha is equal to 1 by 2 epsilon naught is left, Z e square is left, again Hc is also left. This entire equation, if I remove it, then I can get, if I substitute E epsilon naught, a charge value, H value, and the velocity value, then velocity of light value, then I will get 1 by 37. This is known as a fine structure value. So this is also known as a fine structure constant. This is known as a fine structure constant. So note it down. This is a fine structure constant. So this is all about the velocity of electron. So most important synopsis for all the competitive exams. Next we will discuss a radius of the electron. Simply, so radius of electron also I will discuss. Let's talk about the radius of electron. Radius of electron. So simple. Here in radius of electron, how can I find? Radius of electron is also simple. So I have to take a second Pascal where I wrote angular momentum is equal to mvn rn is equal to nh divided by 2 pi. So you know already Vn value. You can directly substitute here and you can get. So Vn value I found it as 1 divided by 2 pi epsilon naught. 1 divided by 2 pi epsilon naught Z e square divided by, what I get? Z e square divided by, I got a Hn. Z e square divided by Hn. So this will you substitute, this thing you substitute there. So what I'll get here? So I simply get m Vn, at the place of Vn I can substitute this thing, 2 epsilon naught into Z e square divided by Hn, okay, is equal to, this side what I'll get here, nh divided by 2 pi, okay, and I left here Rn. So this is Rn. So Rn, if I simplify it, so if I simplify it from this one, what I'll get, you have to see. So you simply here listen. So simply what happens here, simply I am going to cancel a few things here. So 2 and 2 get cancelled here. Okay, what are the things left? You see. So things will be left here. So simple here. So things are left from this equation. Things are left. You see. 2 and 2 get cancelled. Rn is equal to, I can write Rn is equal to, what can I write here? This side nh square, n square, h square, again epsilon naught will be there here, okay. Next divided by, I can get pi is left, m goes downside, so pi into m is left and z e square is left, so z e square. So this is the radius of any electron. So z e square is the radius of any electron. So simple here. I'm going to do something here. So simple, we have many constant in this equation. So many constant here, then I am going to remove few things. What are those things here? Rn is equal to, I can write epsilon naught n, I am going to take it outside. So let's suppose h square I am taking, n square is here. So epsilon here, why there? Pi is there constant, m is constant, z is constant, e square is constant. If I substitute all the values here, it will be reduced as a Rn is equal to 0.53 into n square. It will be reduced as a 0.53 into n square. This is a 0.53 into n square. You note it down this one. Once note it down, 0.53 n square. So from this equation, let's suppose 0.53 n square. Let's suppose, example I am taking here. Let's suppose for hydrogen atom I am taking it here. So for hydrogen atom, n is equal to 1, then R1 is equal to how much here? 0.53 Armstrongs. So this is I can say Bode's radius also, you can say. This is represented as a Bode's radius of symbol R0. So this is also represented, or this is also represented as a R0 is equal to 0.53 Armstrongs. This is nothing but a Bode's radius also, you can say. Okay, next. So this is the radius of electron. So remember, radius of electron is important. Okay. So now one more relation I am going to make it out from here. So one more relation I am going to make it out. So as I told you here, simply here, as I told you, so let's suppose example, that is Rn is equal to 0.53 n square, which means Rn is directly in relation to the n square. So Rn is, if I write in terms of proportionality, R is to R2 is to R3 like that till Rn, then it will be 1 is to 4 is to 9 like that n square. So this is a one more relation you need to keep in mind. That is the radius of electron. Next, let's talk about energies. What could be the... So see guys, here kinetic energy of electron. So kinetic energy of electron, here we know already kinetic of energy I am representing with the Ek. Ek is equal to 1 half into mvn square. So here I am talking about a hydrogen atom. So you know already Vn value I got it as a, generally I am writing Vn is equal to 1 divided by 2 pi epsilon naught. I wrote already Ze square. I can write Ze square divided by R I got. Ze square divided by. So Rn I got. So Rn I wrote it in terms of Ze square divided by Rn. I am writing if everything is cancelled, then Hn it will be remain. So here if it is for the hydrogen atom, for hydrogen atom it will be written as a, for hydrogen atom I can say Z value is equal to 1. So if Z value is equal to 1, then I can get it as a, this equation I can write. So this, if Z is equal to 1, then I can write directly. So Vn is equal to, I can write 1 divided by 2 pi epsilon naught E square divided by n into H. Okay, this is a Vn value. So if I substitute here, what happens you have to see. So if I substitute here, so if I substitute these things over there, what I'll get here, simply you can write Ek value is equal to, I can get so 1 divided by down anyhow everything is squared. So simple you can write half into, so or else simply m into, you can write now remaining thing everything is anyhow here it will become 4. So 8 I am writing because 2 is multiplied. So 2 8 epsilon naught square n square h square, and upside is e power 4. So this is your kinetic energy. Simply I am substituting that, so it will be squared. So next, potential energy of electron I will discuss. This is equation number 1. So next talk about the potential energy. So potential energy of electron. So see here, let's talk about the potential energy of electron. What happens next? Potential energy. So potential energy of potential. Okay, you write like this. Totally you write down. So no need to worry. So potential energy of electron. Potential energy of electron. What happens? See, the potential energy of electron. Simply you know already. If I write, generally energy is related to the positioning. Positioning means in an electron, the positioning will be given. Let's suppose this is a center. Then the position of this one, electron position, will be given by the distance r. So it is always related to the position. So we know already electrostatic. I will use the electrostatic potential energy formula. So you know already that is the potential energy I am representing with the EP. So you know already the potential energy formula, you know, EP is equal to 1 divided by 4 pi epsilon naught. 1 divided by 4 pi epsilon naught charges. You know this is a charge E square. So Z E square divided by Rn. So simply I am talking about here hydrogen atom. So you have to write Z value as a 1. Z value is 1 for a hydrogen atom. For hydrogen, you know already Z value is 1. So if I substitute that, and potential energy is negative. Potential energy is always negative. Why negative? Because due to the conservation of energy, I can say that is conservation of work, you know already. Work done is equal to change in kinetic energy is equal to minus delta U I will write. Why minus? Because minus indicates here as the distance increases here, potential energy increases. As the distance decreases, potential energy decreases. So it is always depends on the distance between the two objects. So this is negative, I have to take it. So Z is equal to 1, I can write then EP value is equal to, I will get minus 1 divided by 4 pi epsilon naught E square divided by Rn. Here I need to substitute Rn value. So if I substitute Rn value over there, then this equation becomes into the potential energy form. So let's do that one. So note it down this one. So let's do that also. Next, potential energy here, if I substitute Rn value. So Rn value you know already. So Rn value of any atom, Rn value of anything will comes as a, I got it in terms of here epsilon naught. I can write epsilon naught h square n square divided by I can write a pi m e square. This is a value for a Rn value. So here this is a for a hydrogen only. Okay, for hydrogen atom. For hydrogen atom only. Then if I substitute this thing in a potential energy formula, EP is equal to, I know 1 divided by 4 pi epsilon naught. I know E square divided by Rn. At the place of Rn, these things if I substitute, then this entire equation will be reduced minus, I can get a minus, what I will get? Minus Rn value. Rn value, this goes upside. So which will be m e power 4 divided by 4 pi, I can get 4 pi, so here 4 pi square I get. So I can write pi get cancel, I will get 4 into h square. Here simply you can get epsilon naught square, h square and n square. This is the relation you get after substituting Rn value over here, which is minus m e power 4 pi epsilon square h square n square. Please note it down. So this is your potential energy. Next, what could be your total energy? So now total energy I wanted to get it. So please note it down. This is for the potential energy. Now go with the, so now take it with potential energy is over. Now total energy I am writing with E. So which is total energy you can write total energy of a hydrogen atom E is equal to Ek plus Ep. So here from there Ek value you know already, which is me power 4 divided by 8 epsilon naught square h square n square minus Ep value I know me power 4 divided by 4e square h square n square. So from there the total energy I will get it. If I solve this thing, what I will get here? Directly minus of m e power 4 divided by 4 epsilon naught square h square and n square will be the total energy of electron. Note it down please. So now this is the total energy. Now actual things comes from here. So I got a total energy relation also. Now we simply see here. So m is a constant mass of the atom, you know already, charge of the electron also you know. Here epsilon naught value you know, Planck's constant value you know. Only thing left is an n square. So total energy of orbit if I speak here. So next if I remove, just note it down. So please let's talk about the total energy. So total energy of orbit, I got it anyhow. So total energy of orbit. So total energy of orbit. So total energy of orbit. So total energy of orbit I got, which is E is equal to minus 1 divided by 4 pi. So sorry, minus 1. So here, you know already, me power 4 divided by 4 epsilon naught square h square n square. So if I take this entire thing, if I substitute, I'll get some value. That value is given as how much here? E value is equal to minus, I can write minus 2.18. If I solve all this thing, 2.18 into, I'll get a 10 power minus 18. 10 power minus 18 divided by n square in terms of joules. In terms of joules, if I want to write the energy levels, I have to multiply this thing. But if I want, every time I have to go with the electron volt only, then I have to get this. If I convert this entire thing in electron volt, I'll get minus 13.6. 13.6 divided by n square. It is an electron volt. Most important relation in the entire atom chapter. In the entire atom chapter, if I speak here, most important thing is this one. Please note it down. So now this is a orbit. So let's talk about orbits here. So different orbits I am going to discuss now. Okay, this is the total energy I got. So let's see. So few things I wanted to discuss here. So anyhow, let's suppose example I am taking. This is a charge. This is a central one. This is your first orbit. Okay. So first orbit means from here to here the distance is first orbit. This is your second orbit. Like this, n number of orbit you have. So let's suppose first orbit means n is equal to 1. Then total energy for first orbit, which is first means n is equal to 1, which is the first orbit. So if I substitute n is equal to 1, what is the value of it? So total energy for the first one, I can write E1 is equal to minus 13.6 divided by n square. If n value, if I substitute 1, then I can write E1 is equal to minus 13.6 electron volt. Okay, this is the first ground level energy, I can say. This is for first level for the first orbit. Next, if I take for the second orbit, so E2 means minus 13.6. For 2 means I can write 2 square here. So minus 13.6 divided by 4. So I can write a minus 3.4 electron volt. You see here what is happening here. Simply for first orbit the energy is very low, which is why I am telling, even the value is bigger, I am telling it is low. Why? Because negative value indicates a lower energy. But here lower negative value means for the second orbit the energy will be more, I can say. Compared to the first one, the second one is having a more energy. Next, take a third one. For third also we will discuss. So for third orbit also like that, what happens? For third orbit, so if E3, if I substitute E3 value is minus 13.6 divided by 3 means 9. So 9 means how much I will get here? 9 ones are 1. So minus 1 point, how much I will get here? So 56 means, so 9 6. So it's almost here minus 1 point electron minus 1. So each, as the orbit is increased, energy also increase. That you have to take into consideration. So here one more important thing. So let's suppose if I take it for the infinity value, then what happens here? 13.6 divided by infinity square. So for this one the value is 0. Means for n infinity, if value of n is equal to infinity, then you can take energy for this one will be, total energy for the orbit is 0. Okay, that is a important thing for it. So let's talk about the energy levels. One more important thing is your energy levels. So okay, going well, classes. Okay, let's talk about energy levels. Energy levels. So guys, energy levels. Before discussing energy levels, I am telling you simple here. I wanted to discuss a simple mathematical things here. So let's suppose minus 10 value. I will write minus 10 value, minus 13 value. Which one is bigger here? Minus 10 now, minus 13 now. So everybody knows minus 13 is a bigger value or a smaller value. Minus 13 is a smaller value. So 10 minus 10 is greater than minus 13. So you see here, as I told you, for a first orbit in a hydrogen atom, so any atom which is how much here, minus 13.6. Okay, so for you see E1 is equal to, I wrote minus 13.6 electron volt. Second one I wrote E2 value as minus 3.4 electron volt. E3 I wrote it as a minus 1.6 electron volt. So it's keep on going. So here, as compared to here, first one is having a lesser energy. So first orbit is there, it is having less energy. If you take second one, it is having more energy. Third one, it is having some more energy. Fourth one, it is one more biggest value it is coming. So here you see, if I compare, simply if I write, so this one is almost, it is very less than this one. This is less than this one. So as the orbits are increased, then energy levels also increased. So that is the important thing. From there, so I can say if it is a first one, if it is a first orbit, then that is having a ground level orbit. Let's say this is a charge, this is a center. So around this one the electron is revolving. Then the first orbit is called as a ground. If it is if n value is equal to 1, then it is called as a ground level energy. So ground level energy is how much here? Minus 13.6 electron volt. This is called as a ground level energy. Ground level energy means whatever the orbit which is very near to the center. It's very almost the first orbit to the center of any nucleus, or you can say first orbit to the nucleus is called as a, whichever is possess the energy, that is called as a ground level energy. Ground level energy is how much here? 13.6. But as I told you, as the orbit is increased, then energy is increased, right? So how it will be increased? What is the reason behind it? A simple reason behind it is the frequency. So this is a smaller orbit. Okay, let's suppose example I am talking here. So that is the ground level energy. So here let's see, this is a nucleus. So this is our first orbit. So first orbit has a smaller revolution, it will revolve easily. Next orbit is bigger, so it is having it will revolve with a bigger frequency. As the frequency increases, its energy also increases. That is the best. So where it will discussed in a third postulate of Bose, we will discuss it. So in a third postulate I have discussed that EI minus EF is equal to h nu. Means as the frequency changes, energy also changes. So as the frequency is increased here, energy also increased. So you see, compare it to the second one, third one will have more energy. Yes or no? So let's suppose if an electron is here, so if it is gets energy, if it is went to it is transferred to the next orbit, then it will have a excited state energy level. So we can say excited state or excited state energy. Second one I can say excited state. Excited state means from the any orbit which is nearby the nucleus. So whichever is, this is having a less energy orbit to the more level energy orbit, if it is moved, then that is called as a excited state. So as I spoke in energy levels, so whichever is, as I told you, whichever is near to the nucleus, it will be having a less total energy. Whichever is moving, whichever is away from the nucleus, it is having a more energy, I told. So it is due to, what is the reason? This question is already asked in IIT. What is the reason behind it? The reason, if I speak, it's due to the frequency changes. So that is what I am writing here. So simply, so energy levels I am going to write in terms of frequencies here. So you know already, as frequency changes, that definitely there is a change in the different things here. So simply, so this is the first level energy. It is having, you can take, this is the energy of initial energy. This is the final energy. So this is having initially, and next it will move to the next one, that is the final. So let's see here, as I told you, the third postulate, from third postulate. So from third postulate, I can take I minus EF is equal to, I can write H nu. This is important. So from third postulate, I am going to discuss about much about frequency. Here this is important. The frequency of energy. Your frequency is changing, and definitely there is a changes. So you know the total energies I am going to discuss, initial and final frequencies. So see, so this is this same equation I am going to write in other format. So let's suppose from the third postulate, you know already H nu is equal to EI minus EF. Okay, you can take initial energy EI is equal to, you can write total energy, you know already how much, ME power 4, yes or no, ME power 4 divided by, what is it, 4 epsilon naught square H square Ni square. So initial orbit. Next one, EF also you can write minus ME power 4 divided by 4 epsilon naught square H square NF square. So if I substitute these equations there, what happens you see. So H nu is equal to, if I substitute this equation, so H here Hi and HF. So Hi and HF if I substitute, so simply minus ME power 4 divided by 4 epsilon naught square H square Ni square minus and minus plus here minus plus. So ME power 4 epsilon naught square H square NF square. So if I just simplify it in a good manner, please note it down. So okay, so if I take it, if I just constrain it simply, so what I can get from this one, simply you can take H nu is equal to, from there ME power 4 divided by 4 epsilon naught square H square, you take it out, remaining will be what is there, 1 divided by NF square minus 1 divided by Ni square, you take it out. So this is the relation we will get it. So here from this one you can simply get it, H if you take it down, nu is equal to, frequency is equal to ME power 4 divided by 4 epsilon naught square H cube 1 divided by NF square minus Ni square. Okay. So now one more thing, H nu means you know already, frequency means what can I write? Frequency means you can write as simply here, frequency is equal to C divided by velocity is equal to lambda in terms of length also. When I say wavelength, then definitely there is a spectrum. So spectrum also he explained in a very clear manner. So we'll discuss that also. So here, so nu, instead of nu, if I substitute C divided by lambda and ME power 4 divided by 4 epsilon naught square H cube, what else H cube, H cube, and left out thing is 1 divided by NF square 1 divided by Ni square. Okay. So please note it down. Next, okay. So if this C comes this side, what happens here? I will be left with only lambda ME power 4 divided by 4 epsilon naught square H cube into C. Here left out thing is 1 divided by NF square 1 divided by Ni square is left out. So if I remove this thing here, if I substitute the value of M, substitute the value of E, epsilon square h and c. If I substitute, I'll get a one simple constant. That constant is a ray bar. This entirely I'm writing. This entire thing I'm presenting with the R, capital R is left out. So I am representing this entire thing in the, I am taking into terms of constant. So 1 divided by nf square minus 1 divided by ni square. So here one simple thing you should know. R means this is a Rydberg constant, and its value you have to write. Its value is almost R value is almost 103 into 10 power 7 meter inverse. Rydberg constant. R is called as a Rydberg constant. So he is found this constant. So his name is named after it, which is a Rydberg constant. So R value I can take a 1.03 into 10 power 7 meter inverse. That is a Rydberg constant. So this equation I am going to utilize when I am explaining about atomic spectra. So this is very important equation. I can say atomic spectra. Okay. So so he successfully derived all these things. So Bohr is derived all these things. Energy levels is derived. What is the ground level energy? What is the excited state energy? What is the derivation for it? Is clearly explained. And he is going to utilize this equation while describing about while talking about spectrums. While talking about a spectrum, when he is explaining about a spectrum, he will take this equation and he will be explaining it. So take it note, and I am going to discuss about the atomic spectrum. So please note it down. So please take it down. Next topic for you is atomic spectra and spectral lines. So atomic spectra and spectral lines. Atomic spectra and spectral lines. So this is your next topic. I will discuss in the next video. Please follow my channel and keep subscribe my channel. If you have any doubts, please comment on it. So thank you all.